I'm Paul.
I'm Devin.
Together, we're Dads and Dice, two dads who like to play some games during our free time.
That's right, and today we are going to be reviewing Role Player by Thunderworks Games. In Role Player, you are going to be setting off on an RPG adventure. However, before you do, you've got to start up and roll your character.
Yeah.
So you're going to be given a race, a class, a backstory, an alignment, and you're going to be trying to roll the best character you can. So in Role Player, you are drafting dice back and forth to try and create the best character you can. You'll have different attribute levels that you're trying to hit with different numeric values, possibly placing different types of dice in different slots to score some bonuses there, moving your alignment around to try and get that lawfully evil or chaotic neutral or whatever your kind of goal on your card is, as well as buying skills, buying equipment, and just all kinds of mishmash ways that will ultimately score you victory points.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and start off with just kind of my overall thoughts of the game. I really enjoy a game where you start off with nothing and you build until you have something at the end, right? I've mentioned that before. I like admiring my work at the end, like, hey, I just made that. And I think this one's a really good one for that, right? You don't have any of your attributes. You have your backstory, so you have this kind of certain ability, or not abilities. With the backstory, you want the dice in certain places. Your attributes, those are kind of your abilities. Throughout the game, you're drafting different skills of just actions that you can do. It's turn this card and your alignment will move up. Like you said, go into the chaotic evil or whatever it may be. All of those things just mesh really well together. And then just putting the dice and having the other action, right? Like it's a cool flow to the game of I'm going to put this here, it's going to trigger this here, which then can let me do this, and then I can twist this guy, and all of a sudden you've done a whole bunch of stuff, and it feels cool to have just done everything that you need to.
Yeah, so honestly, I think that kind of ties into the theme, and it's surprising because Paul doesn't typically get into the I say doesn't, is not familiar with the fantasy theme. He is starting to get more that way, which I'm all for. I'm happy. I'm a epic fantasy nerd. But yeah, it's the theme of this thing is it does feel like you are making your character. Yeah. You're getting the armor. You're a mail wearing class, right, and you're going to buy all the mail that you can. And I think that part is really neat. I've been that person in a RPG that has tried to min-max my character, and the DMs kind of hate because I'm trying to make my character super powerful, and I'm taking this talent with this, and trying to do some busted stuff. And this game, that's kind of what you're doing, and you're rewarded for it. And so that part, it is really, it is neat, and it's fun that they have found that.
Now, going into that, right, you're saying that you're the kind of person that's going to do every little thing they can to get the most out of it, right? And in this game, there is so much little stuff that you can do that you are going to do that, right? And, if you're playing with somebody like Devin that really wants to get the best out of every move, which we all kind of do, right? But it can definitely be a game that makes you really AP prone.
Yeah, so when it comes to the actual gameplay of this game, right, it's fairly straightforward. You play 12 rounds, you're drafting dice, and you're trying to hit these values or put the proper colored dice in a spot, and it sounds simple. But I think the holdup is they give you so many rule breakers and cheaters and whatnot that, yes, if you're trying to win the game, if I wanted to, could take really long time on my turn because you can really move stuff and manipulate it and just you could get the perfect game, but it's going to cost you and your friends some time. And so it really, I found the times that we played this, I had to turn that off and just be like, I'm going to do a slightly efficient move, but I'm not going to really grind this out to the maximum points, because you can, and there is a lot to think about. And it's not that it's hard, it's just figuring it out, right? Figuring out that this black dice needs to switch with this green and flip a number here and do... And you have so many ways of doing it every single turn that it can really bog it down.
Yeah, and really the best way to kind of go into this is it's not... I wouldn't even consider it a game per se. It's a puzzle, right? Like, that's what it is. You're trying to puzzle the best places for these dice, and when do you want to flip the dice? Do you want to do that before you switch it so that you can hit the strength attribute and get the color for the backstory, or do you need to re-roll your dice first, right? Like, there's all these actions that you really need to plan way ahead for just to puzzle it out.
Yeah. Now, one thing I kind of want to mention that it's interesting, again, the fun is in the theme of it, really. And I enjoy this theme. But because the gameplay is so grindy like that, I look at a game like Sagrada, that honestly, very similar game. It is a dice drafting game. And I want to say that side by side, I may lean towards Sagrada, because it doesn't let you just draft your dice and you place it. Maybe a couple times throughout the whole game you can move and manipulate stuff, but for the most part your turns are very quick. Here's the pool of dice, I'm going to draft this one, I'm going to place it down, and it's on to the next turn, and it's moving very speedily.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it's a group game that you're playing, Sagrada is going to be the game that I'm going to go to. If it's a game where I just want to take my time and figure something out, this is going to be the game that I go to. This will be a solo game for me. I've played it with Devin, I've played it with my wife, and every time it kind of goes back to that, all right, I'm waiting for my turn, I'm waiting for you to finish what you're doing, and then I know they're doing the same thing whenever it's my turn. But it's a game that I can get out, I can put my full attention to, and really just grind it out, really do the best that I can, and just see what I get.
Yeah. Now, a neat thing about this game, Role Player has many expansions, and they have really built on this world. They built on it through other games. You have Cartographers, you have Locked Up. They actually have a newer one I'm not as familiar with, but they're really building this neat world. An interesting thing about this, while the game is building your character, you kind of build your character and then that's it, and they have decided to, I'm not going to say fix it, but extend it by adding, I think it's role player heroes and adventures, and you get to build your hero and then actually go out and fight monsters and get to do the fun part of having built your superhero. And so I think that part is really neat, and I would like to revisit the game with those included. Yeah,
I would agree. It would just add a little bit more oomph to the game, right? Like, the game's not bad, but it does kind of feel like, okay, I built this awesome person, now what? Right? Like, cool, I did it, let's go see what he can do, right? And that goes back into just the whole thing of just like, you spent all this time, you really grinded it, you made the best thing that you could do, now let's test them. But I mean, overall, I think it's a fun game. It's definitely one that's going to stay in the collection, again, for, you know, those nights that just need a little good puzzle and just try to make the best character.
Yeah, so that's pretty much our thoughts on Role Player. As always, we really do appreciate you watching, appreciate this. Please like, comment, subscribe. All of those things help us. They help our channel grow. And we'll see you on the next one. Back at it.